right? Is we can sort of go as far and show whatever we want because we don't need a special effects budget. It costs as much to draw a guy walking across the street as it costs to draw massive space battles and explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
And the Battle of Trafalgar, which Clayton did a great job.
I did like that
depicting in the first issue. Yeah. So if people want to dismiss it because they think it's too much like Doctor Who, then oh well,
Exactly. Well, no, I was just curious
accept.
because that's something that I think people would, they'd sit there and they go, "Oh, this is just Doctor Who," and it's not. And you've just kind of said, "Well,
right.
I've only seen 2 episodes, so how can it be a knockoff?"
Right, yeah, exactly. And he's not English, man. He's Sumerian. Get it straight.
It's completely different.
Totally different. There's no call box.
Exactly. So let me ask you this too, because one thing that I did notice on your in perusing your bibliography,
mm-hmm.
I did notice that you have something called Action Philosophers.
I do.
And you've also got something called Action Presidents too, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about this. What is Action Philosophers and Action Presidents?
Well, Action Philosophers is the story of history's A-list brain trust, told in hip and humorous comic book fashion. It was one of the first books I became known for. The artist Ryan Dunleavy and I started doing it in 2004. Dark Horse just brought out the hardback 10th anniversary edition last fall. And it's a beautiful book. You can get it on Amazon or wherever fine comics are sold, or you can go to fredvinley.com and click on the link there. We did about 10 issues of it. We did the entire history of philosophy, not the entire history of philosophy, but, the highlights, from the pre-Socratics to Jacques Derrida. So we covered about 3,000 or so years of the history of thought. We did Iran, we did Schopenhauer, we did Hegel, we did Nietzsche, we did Kant, John Stuart Mill, St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine, Bodhidharma, Lao Tzu, Mary Wollstonecraft, lots of folks, the A-list. And recently we sold to HarperCollins the same concept, but with presidents, and what they're going to do, this is a project I'm in the middle of doing right now, is we're doing the presidents as 110-page original graphic novels for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, taking the same irreverent, joke-filled, but still accurate thing we did with philosophers and action philosophers and applying it to U.S. history. So it's a very, very, very exciting project. And I can't wait for people to see it. The first 2 action presidents are going to be Lincoln and Washington, and they'll be everywhere in 2017. So they're releasing both books at once. That's why it's taking us so long to crank them out.
You plan on doing something on Madison or maybe on Coolidge or are you just going to go, or are you going to go with like the really, really well, Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson, and then try to go from there?
Yeah, I mean, Teddy Roosevelt's a great kid-friendly president, He's sort of the original quote-unquote action president. So him and FDR would sort of be the next 2, but contractually we're doing 4 books, but we've only done only 2 of them are named, so we have to deal with the editors and talk about what it is we want to do next.
That makes sense.
They kind of want to do JFK. I have no problem with JFK, but his presidency was involuntarily cut short, so there's not quite as much material on him as some of the others.
Thanks, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, what a dick. Yeah, so it's very exciting. I've always really enjoyed nonfiction comics. The book we did in between Action Philosophers and Action Presidents was the comic book History of Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And that did very well for us, and that's a book that I'm super proud of.
Have you always been just a fan of history in general?
Yeah, definitely, and I love doing historical fiction. A lot of my creator-owned stuff is historical fiction. Obviously, Time Walker and Archer Armstrong have a lot of history in them. I don't really know why I'm so obsessed with history, but it's definitely something that I've always been a fan of.
I'm a history major, so you won't hear me complain there.
Excellent.
You will not hear me complain there. All right, so stuff coming down the pipe that you can talk about. Anything in particular you want to tease before I let you go?
Well, Action Presidents is a huge undertaking, so I'm spending a lot of my time on that. Still writing the Conan book for Dark Horse, Conan the Adventure, so folks should pick that up if they like barbarianing.
I knew there was something I was forgetting, and that was the fact that you are writing Conan, and I have all of the Robert E. Howard books. So
Excellent. I'm bridging at the moment Zuthal of the Dusk with A Witch Shall Be Born. It's an important bit there in the Howard canon. I am I'm doing a book that hasn't been announced yet. Wrapping up a creator-owned book called Resurrectionists. That's another sort of history-based people being able to become their past lives book. That's super fun. I feel like I'm missing something, but oh well. I've been mired in the first Washington administration for the last week, so that's
have you ever read? By the way, while I'm thinking about it, have you ever read any of Harlow Unger's books?
No.
You ought to check out. He's got some really good books on Washington. He's got, I want to say, like 3. He's got at least 2. Give me a second. I'll look it up. I'll tell you the books. It is the first one is called Mr. President George Washington and the Making of the Nation's Highest Office.
Mm-hmm.
That's about to come out in paperback in a couple of weeks. And he also did one called The Unexpected George Washington, kind of looking at his private life.
Cool. I will check those out.
I definitely recommend him. I think he's a great author.
Awesome.
He's highly recommended. So, boy, let's see. Is there anything else that I completely missed that you want to tease? Or let's see. It's a fredvanlente.com, correct?
It is. I am everywhere on the web, just simply as Fred Van Lente. If you can spell my name, you can find me on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the .coms and the Tumblrs and all that fun stuff.
All right. Very much looking forward to reading the next issue of Ivar Time Walker. And any more stuff on Archer and Armstrong coming up, or is that kind of chilling out for a while?
You may see them in the pages of Ivar Time Walker.
All right.
So you're not fans.
Very cool. All right. Thank you so much, Fred. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot, Taylor.
All right, and that was Fred Van Lente. You can find him at Fred Van Lente with an E at the very end on Twitter, as well as Fred Van Lente with an E.com. So we're going to take a little bit of an extended break, longer than we normally do. Actually, no, we'll talk for a couple of minutes. I want to address something that was said in the chat room by a certain Chad, saying, I'm just hanging out and watching Taylor's Olympic diving team compete in Winnipeg tonight. Come on, Chad. The only diver that I can think of is Ryan Garbett, and he needs to work on his embellishment and not do it as much. And it could be a lot worse. It honestly could be a lot worse. We could be the Arizona Coyotes. Or the Colorado... Just kidding, Chad. I respect your team. I like your team. Just kidding about the Avalanche. But coming up next hour, looking forward to this, we are scheduled to have CJ Grisham, who is the president and CEO of Open Carry Texas. Really looking forward to discussing what they are doing to promote open carry here in the great state of Texas. Some of the discussions that have been going on, some of the controversies, quote unquote, that it has to do regarding the regarding some of the open carry stuff, and that should be fun. So that's coming up in Chad, you're lucky that you don't have a call-in show. Well, Chad, if you wait about 30 minutes or about 20 minutes, I just might hand out the number to call in, believe it or not. But we're going to take a little bit of an extended break. We'll be back after the top of the hour here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. Be back in about 5 minutes or so.
I don't have answers. I have opinions and an internet connection. Hi, this is Amy Curtis from Modern Comments Radio, and you can catch me live Wednesday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
We want to welcome Michael Moore to Occupy Wall Street. I'm so impressed by what I'm seeing here.
How much of people's income do you, Michael Moore, want the government to confiscate?
Probably twice what we're paying right now.
It's not envy, it's war.
Where's the rage? Where's the uprising?
Storm the doors of the New York Stock Exchange.
It is a class war.
If the wealthy paid their fair share. For a documentary filmmaker, I do really well. I'm very blessed.
And the rich thought poverty was bad.
I do well.
They get rid of it.
What pure? There's nothing pure about capitalism.
And they know what's coming on Wall Street.
We're seeing the end of capitalism. And I say good riddance.
He is one of my favorite capitalists. Yeah, I want to give him a hug.
You're not listening to the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty Tuesday nights on Vigilant Liberty Radio. You're missing things like this.
In a couple months, you're going to have 2 fewer hours a day to deal with it.
I'm going to have to crate my kids, I think, more often. What? No, I didn't say that out loud, I guess.
Yeah, that should have gone inner monologue there.
That's the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty with your hosts, Alan Gordius and Crystal Schoonveld, Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Hi, this is Jason Dibbler, co-host of Q with a View, heard every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on FTR Radio. Right now, FTR needs your help in making the jump into the 21st century through some long-needed equipment upgrades. This is where you, the great and loyal listeners of Great Conservative Talk Radio, can really lend a hand. Visit GoFundMe.com/helpupgradeFTR right now. Your assistance, no matter how small, will help to ensure that FTR can continue to offer some of the best conservative radio on the interwebs. Your donation of $50 gets you up to 60 seconds of airtime on FTR radio 4 times. For $100, your ad will run 10 times, or if you don't want to run an ad, you can have 30 minutes of FTR airtime to talk about anything you want. There are other thank yous for other levels of giving as well, but those are some pretty great offers. We hope you'll consider making a small donation to help keep quality conservative talk radio alive and thriving on the internet. Visit GoFundMe.com/helpupgradeFTR today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taylor Millard, co-host of The Right War, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I'll give you one simple reason why you need to listen to Liz Harrison and me every Wednesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. You never know when I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. Liz, I've had similar situations with you in bed. Wait, what? What? That just came out way wrong. That's The Right War, every Wednesdays and Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
The time is gonna get lifted. This ain't a call to get twisted.
Hey, this is Alfonso Rachel with 20 Pound Sledge and PJTV Zone Nation, and you're listening to VLR.
This is Lachlan Marquet of the Washington Free Beacon, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
He says he doesn't have a horse in this race, but